Ward, and I'm going to talk about some of the workability and disadvantage issues of reforming the three strikes law. First, for the workability. We've been this route before trying to reform three strikes, and it's simply that voters won't vote for it. Okay? When it was first passed, the voters knew exactly what they were voting for. The California ballot pamphlet for Proposition 184, which is the three strikes law, summarized the law as a felony conviction in conjunction with prior convictions for violent or serious felonies would be subject to an increased sentence. It also stated that any felon with two prior qualifying convictions would receive a prison sentence of 25 for life. It was very cut and dry. And that law passed with a 72% approval rating. Opponents of the law have lobbied consistently to have it overturned, abolished, or modified. In this case, they're advocating that it's modified. Well, we've tried that. Bills to amend the law were introduced in 1996, 1997, 99, twice in 2002, and again in 2003. Every single one failed to pass the legislative process. Why are we going to try this again when they're not even going to vote for it? Second, changing the three strikes law to allow to just being a violent offense for the last and final strike causes severe problems for with regards to property crimes. They're going to fall by the wayside. Okay. Statistics included in a study by Walsh titled "Tough for Whom: How Prosecutors and Judges Use Their Discretion to Promote Justice Under California's Three Strikes Law," revealed that many of the state's three strikers sentenced for non-serious third strike felonies commit offenses that pose potential harm for individuals and communities. So what this is saying is, yeah, burglaries, they go into your house, they steal stuff, that's not going to be a three strike. Okay, the reduction in crime that we had because of the three strikes law, if you compare the 14 years prior to the three strikes law, since it's gone into place, you'll notice that there's a huge difference. Murders have gone down by 50%, rapes down by 25%, robberies down by 48%, and property crimes like burglary have gone down 45%, auto theft down 30%. Those property crimes equate to a reduction of 300,000 crimes per year. You know, this drop in crime is similar, brings us back to crime statistics and crime ratings that we saw in 1968, with the exception of this property crime, which we haven't had rates like this since 1953. Again, it's 300,000 less burglaries and auto thefts per year. That, violent crimes is 400,000 less. Home burglary is often cited as the most unfair part of the three strikes law. And what my opponents want to do is they want to make you think that things like auto theft and burglary are not violent offenses, that they don't go hand in hand. So maybe somebody who's on their third strike after committing two previous violent offenses, maybe they didn't have to use a gun for it. Okay, but they've already done two violent offenses. I just don't see how we want the recidivism of these people going back out on the streets, committing crime again, going back into the court system, incurring more court costs, and just going through the system all over again multiple times. The whole purpose of the three strikes law was to reduce recidivism, okay, reduce these repeat offenders. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Also, it's not going to change much as far as benefits. As Justin already stated, only like 7,500 inmates are currently in prison for three strikes. They're saying it's going to raise health care. Okay, $50,000 per inmate. Only a third of those are the three strikes, third strikers who are nonviolent, are in there for nonviolent offenses. What that comes out to is that's like $3.5 million we're saving. That's nothing. To the disadvantages, they'd also like you to believe that these nonviolent third strike offenders are not dangerous. In a study of California's three strikes law by Professor Jennifer Walsh of Cal State, LA, shows, for example, that contrary to the common view of the law, that does not result in that contrary to the common view, the law does not result in lengthy sentences for all of these eligible three-time recidivists. Rather than 25 to 40% of the eligible cases prosecuted, judges use their discretion to make it shorter. She also shows that the myth that these offenders sentenced under law for the minor offenses like burglary and car theft are not violent. However, most of them, usually their most recent offense prior to that, involved a violent crime, burglary, or illegal possession of weapons. Just because they did not happen to use the weapon or commit the violent crime at that point does not mean that these people are not dangerous. Also, a disadvantage is, again, our crime rates have dropped dramatically, about 40% across the board. It's 3 million less crimes annually. California's overall population is, increased by 14 million people, yet we have 3 million less crimes. Criminologists will historically equate crime to population. The more people, the more crime. California has cut crime nearly in half, while our state population is increased by 50%. How does this make sense? The U.S. Department of Justice has equated this to saving $54 billion over the course of the bill in reduction in crime. 54 billion is very, very dramatic compared to the 3.5 million that it's claimed that they're going to save in medical costs. I just don't see where we're going to save